had a client ask me to film on my daughter's birthday.
Oh?
And I was like, if that's the only day you could do it, but that is my daughter's birthday. And they're like, how about the 11th? I'm like, yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Is that, I mean, for you, is it just like a dollar amount? Like if they paid this much, it's like, hey, we'll figure out how to celebrate my daughter's birthday some other time?
No, it's not. Birthdays. So my wife's mom, who we have a good relationship with now, left on my wife's birthday.
Okay.
Like left the family, just like up and started her new family.
Yeah.
And now that relationship is good, but birthdays in my house are really, really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm going to miss something on my kid's birthday, like money is not a good enough motivating factor for me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
it is, I just don't want to miss my kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And it is something that is as much for my wife as it is for my kids, but I think that it's a value that we've created.
Yeah.
That it's like, I'm just not going to miss their birthdays. So that's just not ever going to happen. So
that's cool. I think sometimes it's probably helpful to draw a hard line in the sand like that.
Yeah.
This is related and unrelated, but for the first, maybe not for the first time, feels like for the first time.
Touch for the very first time. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
I like for the first time, kind of stood up for my value. It's a new client working through the details, and they were looking to just hire me to shoot a thing. So I'm not doing a full project. And so I gave him my day rate for doing just a one-off shoot like this, providing my equipment and all of that stuff. And he took it to the board, and the board to him was basically like, well, did you try to negotiate? And so he came back. He's like, listen, I get it, but I'm playing middleman here. You know, we're trying to be conservative with resources. So they wanted, yada, yada, yada. So what's your bottom dollar? And I told him, I said, well, if you brought me in to do a full project, there's things that we could figure out negotiations on. Like maybe I put in a line item for motion graphics and this project doesn't need it. Or, and there's things that we could do to cut it down. But right now, what you're just billing me on is my time and my skills. And I made a pretty hard line for myself to not negotiate on either of those two factors. And he was like, all right. And he agreed to the day rate.
Dope.
Yeah. And I had that moment where I was like, the feeling wasn't like, yes, I was able to make this money. What it felt like was, it felt so good to, in a non-defensive way, own my value.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been good at that. So that felt good.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good win.
Yeah.
It's a good win.
Should we hit the intro?
Let's do it. I'm waiting for you.
Do you want? I can do it.
You said hit the intro.
And we did.
Now we're back?
Yeah.
I always wait for you, man. Have I not always waited for you? You were just looking at me. Am I dumb?
Wait for me to what?
I don't know. Start. Say.
Oh, like to introduce people?
You know what I just thought of?
What?
Have you seen The Incredibles?
Oh, of course.
One of the greats.
Yes.
Like that little kid's on the bike, and he's just looking at him, and he's like, "What are you waiting for?" And he's like, "I don't know, something amazing to happen." That's how I just felt.
No, we didn't experience this in the moment, but the music for the intro played in the invisible space there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the incredible space.
Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, this episode.
Oh, by the way, welcome to Can You Change the Music? We're here.
I think that's what I was waiting for.
Did you wanted me to do that?
Yeah, you've been doing that.
That can be the thing.
Let's make it the
we
thing.
We kind of handed off back and forth, but I've been
Have
taking
we
it
been?
lately. I think so.
I don't remember.
But hey, welcome. So glad to have you.
I'm a mess. All right.
Pop off.
So I want we've asked for feedback from some folks in some of our earlier episodes, and we've gotten amazing feedback. I think at this point in the podcast airing, I hope we're starting to build some community.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, we've recorded some of these episodes even now before we've officially launched. And so by this point in time, I'm really thinking that we have some community, we've heard great feedback from some video production guys that has really been impactful for me.
How did it feel listening to Ben and Gabe, who you had never met before, giving feedback on the episode?
Okay, Gabe, in the episode, I called him like video production Yoda.
Yeah.
And that's because like I felt like I was learning so much from him. Just like, and it's unusual because he wasn't giving like a ton of like practical like tips and trick. Like,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like his mantra and like the way that he views life and success. I was like, I'm here. I'm here for it. And it was just so good. It was just such good perspective. And so, if you haven't listened to Gabe's episode, go listen to that. So good.
Yeah.
But some of the feedback that we got early on in this process was somebody specifically pointed out that they wanted to lean into this idea that I really want to lean into. I say things all the time, and like as you've pointed out, we're not sure what's liable to come out of my mouth. And
Loose Cannon Joe over here.
But one thing that I want to lean into in this episode is really the idea of building strategic partnerships and relationships with people as we, develop our career and our agency in our business. And so I think that to me has been kind of if I were to like look at like what's one thing you could say that you could attribute your business growth and success to, I would say that's been building relationships and strategic partnerships.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the one, the thing that makes the engine go, right?
Will you engage in a thought experiment with me?
Okay.
Would you consider what you do a product business or a service business?
Can the answer be neither or both?
The answer could be neither. I was going to object if it was both. But before you do, here's my line of thinking on that. Relationships are critical to a service business, right? Like, because you're working with people, you're trying to solve a problem. And so feeling like those people can trust that you know what you're talking about, but that you also care about them and their success is critical.
Yeah.
A product business, Walmart, the grocery store, there's obviously a relational element to it, but at the end of the day, what they're looking for is like, I'm looking for milk and, an extension cord. Do you see what I'm saying?
So I definitely don't think that I just sell a product. So I wouldn't say product business is what we're doing.
And I know that there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
I guess in my brain, I'm just thinking like whichever one you fundamentally align with kind of leads to different assumptions. Do you know what I'm saying?
I also feel like the reason why I say like either neither or both is because like at the end of the day, we're giving them a deliverable. We're giving our clients a deliverable, and that deliverable should produce some sort of impact on their business or their life or whatever it is. Because not all video is for the same purpose.
Yeah.
But the reason why I struggle calling it a service industry is because it's not. Like when I guess when I think of service industry, I think of HVAC. I think of construction, where like they're building a thing for a purpose and it's a tangible still thing, right? And like video production, like I would view myself, and maybe I'm being too philosophical, which I don't.
Hey, it's my bread and butter.
Right. But I view myself as a strategic partner. Like, so I would say that we're a partnership business, not a service business.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I approach the relationship like we're partners, like we're equals. I'm not just this expert that knows more than them. And I have a value to bring. And if I'm not bringing value, and which I've said 100 times, like I will either stop that contract or I will renegotiate terms, or like if I'm not adding value, I have no business here.
Yeah.
And so, and I know that is probably counterintuitive, and but I'm not just trying to sell a thing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to partner with people to have an outcome for them.
I like that. I like the way you phrase that. And in a world like that, where that is the way you go about business, that is what you do, it's how you do it, relationships are everything. Like, there's a chance, if you are a product business, in whatever kind of arbitrary distinction I made, if you think of yourself as a product business, you should have good customer service and care about people and build relationships. It would help you. But at the end of the day, you could get away without it, right?
If you had a good enough product.
Right, exactly. But like, the nature of thinking about your business as a partnership or a service business, you know what I mean? Like, if you are not actively prioritizing the quality of the relationships you build and maintain, that is the life source for your business.
Right.
Like, it's referrals. Referrals come from a person you've built a relationship with. It's repeat work with the people you've built a relationship with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's where reputation comes from. And so any momentum in your business is kind of tied around relationship.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, that was a great episode.
Yeah, we're done. So how do you do it? Like, this was an idea that you brought to the table to talk about.
Yeah.
How have you, I was going to say, like, how do you strategically incorporate relationships into your business? But I guess I'm thinking, like, how have you decided to take the idea of, I'm a relational person, people matter, and make it like a practice for your business?
I think the first thing to say inside of that is relational and building relationships can be a broad thing. And I really narrow it down. So for me, I used to be a pastor, used to be a youth pastor. I really feel like something that's a part of my person is this like shepherd thing, however you want to view that. Not that I think I'm better than people and need to take care of them, but like that is part of the way that I was designed, is to be this kind of like shepherding person. And so I navigate relationships that way sometimes.
Yeah. To point people to something good.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I really think, and that's why it's important to me to add value, because if I'm not adding value, then I'm taking advantage of you. And I just won't do that to the best of my ability. I'm not saying I'm perfect. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
To what I can control and what I can see in front of me, I'm going to try to guide people towards good things. And so I build my conversation and my relationship from a business standpoint around that. Can I help you get a good thing, or do a good thing, or have a good thing? And, can my coaching in that help you? Can my, video production in that help you?
Yeah.
What is it going to be? And there have been times where I actually started doing something where I was like, okay, I know that I care about this person, and I actually know that they cannot afford this and this and this. I want them to have that. And so I'm going to charge them a consulting fee, because it's still time and effort and energy. And I'm going to teach them how to do this because they have the time to do it. And so I've actually taught, I still call them clients, still leveraging business relationship and all those things.
Yeah.
But instead of doing the thing for them, I'm teaching them how to do it.
Yeah.
And I've gotten some of those relationships to actually hire me for different things because there's been trust built, because they know that I'm not just going to do the thing that makes me the most money. I'm actually going to try to help them. So this is like, that's why I say, like, business partner. Like, I don't ever want to take advantage of anybody. I do want to leverage and pull levers on things that are beneficial, obviously mutually. Like, I'm still in business. I'm still needing to provide for my family. Like, all those things are still true. I'll give you a perfect example.
Yeah.
So there's this guy who wanted to. I did some work for him at the very beginning of my launch date. And this was in a time where I'm trying to figure some things out. And so I did some introductory prices. So I did like 5 videos for him, and it was like $50 a video. So it was like very different than, like my early, what I kind of latched onto, but I was experimenting.
Yeah.
And there were some of the first videos that I made post launch, right? And he recently was like, hey, could you make some more videos for me? I loved the videos that you made. And I was like, okay, like, here's my prices. And he goes, oh. And he was like, like, what the hell, kind of, like,
Yeah.
what is this? And it's not somebody who I'd spent a ton of time building a lot of relationship with.
Yeah.
Because he found me on social media and did the work, and he was happy with it, but he never really had the capital to keep going. And I was fine just like the extent of that relationship really just being like a quid pro quo.
Yeah.
Do this for me, I'll do this for you. I learned, he got some videos, got some content. And so I was like, oh, okay, like he's looking at a price and I haven't established really good relationship. And so I just said, hey man, like I can tell, and this is a conversation over text, I can tell you're really frustrated right now. Let's meet for lunch. And so I met him for lunch and started listening to him talk. I realized he's skeptical to pay anybody any amount of money because he hired a marketing agency, spent like 15 or 20 grand and really got no results. So he's been burned.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, now I understand where some of this weirdness is coming from. I'm missing details. I'm trying to be brief, but so I'm building relationship with him. I'm understanding his concerns. Now I have a lot more empathy for him. And I was like, okay, well, here's what I think we should do here. It's clear you don't want to spend a ton of money, and I totally get that you've been burned. You've gotten no results. I'm gonna show you how to do a couple things that I think will be beneficial for you. And if they work, then let's have a deeper conversation about what can go after that. And I charged for some time. I spent about 5 or 6 hours with him. I showed him the back end of how to advertise. So it wasn't even video production. It was just like a bunch of people coming in without his best interest in mind. Like, oh, I can guarantee this and this and this, and you'll get this and this, and he had a very niche, very, very niche business.
Yeah.
Right. Really hard to advertise for how niche his audience was because there aren't very many people that even want what he does. Right.
Yeah.
And so his lack of understanding on marketing combined with his very niche and very competitive inside of that niche market. And so I just taught him the back end. How do you utilize certain pieces of content? How do you leverage that content? And so I just showed him really the back end marketing.
You know what that does? That demonstrates a lack of neediness on your part.
Right.
Because you're not being like, hey, you're going to hire me because I have trade secrets and the only way you'll find them is for the right price.
Right.
It's like, hey, if you pay me, if you hire me to work with me, it's because you have experienced the things I can do and that they've worked, and you want more of it, not because I'm trying to like gatekeep something.
Right. Honestly, gatekeeping, I don't use this word often. It pisses me off.
Pop off king.
I think that there is more than enough work to go around.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Case in point, I have a strategy for retainers. You asked for that strategy. I just gave you my pricing model. I don't care. I don't have any need to withhold that from you.
Yeah.
And if you're curious, I charge clients 4 videos for $1,250 a month.
At the time of recording this, could change.
At 10 videos for $1,750 and an unlimited amount of videos for $3,250.
For a social media model.
For a social media model kind of. Like that is my pricing model. People are like, well, that's too little. Or some people are like, wow, that's too much. Or I literally had somebody go, why did you McDonald's price your I'm like, I don't know. That's just what works for me. Like,
And like,
but I say all that to say, like, I don't have a scarcity mindset in this.
Yeah.
I just want to help people. Dude, the reason we're doing this podcast is because we don't have a scarcity mindset. We just want to help people.
Is everything, dude. Right. Okay. Scarcity mindset. Like that gets into when, we were talking with Gabe about the idea of gratitude and all the stuff like I was talking about then. Like scarcity mindset is it sucks all of the good things out of your life. Scarcity mindset causes you to keep from building relationships with peers, other people you might want their advice or collaboration or ideas that could make you better, other video people or creatives. It causes you to struggle to build those relationships you're talking about with clients, because it's clear we are business all the way down. That is the entire thing.
Right.
And
scarcity mindset prevents this from happening right now.
Yeah.
Because I would view you as a competitor.
Yeah. And any guest we have.
And any guest. And that's not the case. And if you listen to Gabe's episode, he landed a client you were going after.
Yeah. He kind of, Well, he had it long before I tried.
But why? He says why.
Yeah.
Go back and listen to that, because he had a long-standing relationship with them.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing is, and I loved your response to that. You're like, hey, go get it. Like,
right.
Because there's other clients, there's other people that you can have relationships with.
Well, and
other people you connect with that he wouldn't connect with or I wouldn't connect with.
Well, and also, I mean, to be fair, it also now means I have a connection to that client. Like, it's not like I'm going to try to do anything about that.
Right.
But like, if I made this joke also when we were talking to Gabe, like, this podcast opens up the idea that I could get to know every videographer in a 50-mile radius. And that sounds awesome. Partly as an extrovert, partly as somebody that wants to connect with other people, partly because this job is kind of lonely, but also because, like, they need help every now and then, just like I do.
Yeah.
And so,
100%.
like, if I was trying to, like, if I was really fascinated with the pharmaceutical industry, I'm not. But if I was, and that was the reason I was really trying to get that client, and then it didn't happen, and then Gabe's like, oh yeah, I've been working with them for years. It's like, well, dude, if you ever need help, I've always wanted to do X thing. Like, that's what positive relationship building does.
Right. And that is now positive relationship building beyond client scope relationship.
Yeah.
Like, so when I say that, like, relationship is broad, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, like, the way that I approach client building relationship is this, like, partnership, this, like, we're in this together and we're going to hit the goals that we have.
Yeah.
To whatever it is in our capacity and control to hit those goals.
Yeah.
And it's been a really fun way to do business. It's also prevented me from having to do things like cold outreach, like cold calls and cold emails. I have to date, and I say this understanding that there may be a day and time
You're right.
where I have to start a relationship with a cold call or a cold email. And there are people who have started and built really good business relationships from cold call and cold email. But that's not been my experience up to this point in time.
Yeah.
I haven't done that. And I hope to hold off on that for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like, in a perfect world, I will never have to do that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not naive.
Yeah.
But up to this point, I have, my business launched because of so many relationships that I had being a pastor in a community. Like, I didn't leave the town I lived in for work.
Small town.
And it's,
smallish.
That's perspective too. Like,
that's fair. I just mean, like, it wasn't like, it wasn't Milwaukee.
Right. It was 7,500 people. So wherever you think, if you think, I think that's pretty big for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I grew up in a town of 800.
It's fair. It's much bigger.
But for the, I'm not in Chicago. I'm not in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I really thought early on that I would have to go to Madison or Milwaukee to get business, because that's what our brain tells us,
It's
right? Like
perception,
that's
yeah.
like, because that's where, but one, there was no competition in my city. And the interesting thing, after I launched, another video agency launched in my town.
Yeah.
And instead of viewing that as competition, we worked together and I viewed it as collaboration.
Yep.
And I'm actually really sad. Like, his company no longer exists. And I gave him business that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
And he's not around anymore. He's actually doing something else in video production and creativity, but it's not owning a business, right? So, anyways, I grew my company based on the fact that I had so many relationships with business owners in the community prior to me ever starting an agency. And that kind of laid the framework for me wanting to do business that way.
Yeah.
And I know we're coming up on time for a break here. And so I want to say, just to kind of wrap up this point, the way that I view relationships are counterintuitive to business. And that is, I want to look at somebody who is even going to be a prospective client, and I want to give to them more than I get. I want to provide for them more than they provide for me. And that perspective, like I said, like as a shepherd in me, it keeps me from taking advantage of people who may not know better.
And for what it's worth, that's not the same thing as underpricing yourself. That's
Correct.
not what you're talking about.
No.
You're talking about the idea that you only want to work with people that you can offer so much value over and above that it is definitely worth what they're paying, and there's no chance in your mind that they are losing money by working with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying, is like, if I can't add that value, I won't take that job. And again, those are counterintuitive things. And you would think, like, especially as you're starting a business, you're like, oh, well, you just got to take what you can get, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I've tried that. And what it does do is create headache. And what it does do is create bitterness. What it does do is, like Ben said a couple episodes, it creates bad relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, pain in the butt clients.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand, you don't understand the goals. Like, so with that, we'll expound on some of those here in just a second, but we're going to take a quick break.
Yes, sir.
And then I have a couple questions for you.
Love it. Okay, so, this was 2020. When I was first...
That magical year.
The magical year. When I was first starting my recording studio, Caffeinated Records. I was fresh into business, didn't know what I was doing. Everything was unknowns. Like, I was still learning how to record music. I was still, didn't know anything about running a business. So I was trying to figure out, what my prices should be and all this stuff. And in the name of feeling like I had to suss out my competition, right? Like, I had to know what other places were around doing what I was doing, and I felt like I felt the I felt the need to be like sneaky about it. And so I was living with my aunt at the time, and I had her reach out to a couple of recording studios in the area.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious, dude.
to inquire about like some potential recording she's looking to do to like get their rates.
And she went for it?
And she went for it, and she sent me like
funny.
a document with like the details. One of the main ones, this is real confession time. One of the main ones was a guy named Justin LeBrec at Waysound Recording in Fox River Grove. He and I, we're not like super close. He's one of the people that listened and gave us feedback on this podcast. So I kind of hope he listens to this episode, because I've never told him this.
Oh. These are my confessions.
Yeah, dude. So there was like a point in time where he got an email from some lady that was looking for some recording stuff, and It was all me. It was me trying to be sneaky.
Dude,
I thought about that as we were talking about, like,
that's epic.
yeah, because when I started, I thought what the only thing I knew about business was like, you got to know your competitors. You got to know, how are you
But
going to
that's like
offer
the gas station model, dude.
Yeah.
And by that, so I used to work at a gas station. And
Okay.
when I was the opener,
Yeah.
part of my job, I would walk into the building, clock in, and before I'd turn anything on, I would drive around town and check the price of the gas at all the gas stations. And
Really?
we would price the gas to be 3 cents cheaper than the next cheapest.
Really?
That was like, yeah, if you were the opener, that was what you had to do.
That was standard.
Standard protocol.
Yeah. And I guess for a gas station model, I guess it makes sense. But like,
Well, because a gas station doesn't make any money on gas.
yeah.
Gas is mostly taxed. That's where the price comes from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a huge shock for people, but
Yeah. Yeah.
they make money is similar to, like, now we're talking like the movie theater model. Like, movie
Yeah.
theaters don't make money on movies. Like, they get a very, very small percentage.
Yeah.
And that's why they can chart, actually, like, the less money a movie theater charges, the higher their profit margin is most of the time, because it's like so many weeks past the release date, they make more money on it. And so they drop the price, but their margin is bigger.
Yeah.
But they make money on snacks.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So that's why
Yeah.
when you sneak snacks into a theater, they look at you like you're the devil, because that's where all of their money comes from.
Huh.
Same with the gas station.
Yeah. Huh.
Anyways,
That's fascinating. But
so you were doing the gas station model.
I was, because I thought that was what you were supposed to do. And I,
If you're a gas station.
right. And I'm trying to think at what point, like how long I kept that up. I don't think it took me long for me to realize this is stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? It makes more sense for me to make friends in this world
Yeah,
than
100%.
like, if I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing, like it just makes sense for me to connect with the people in the area that are already doing it.
Yeah.
And so actually we were doing a podcast at the studio, and Justin was one of the guests that I had on. And I think that was kind of a cool internal mental turning point where it's like, I'm not trying to fight people on this.
Right.
Yeah.
I think too, because if we're all strategic partners, I've hired you to do stuff,
Yeah.
right? Like early on, I'm like, oh, I don't really know how to do this. I don't have time to do this at this point.
Yep.
You need some work. Like,
Yep.
I'll shoot you some stuff to edit for me, and like I've hired you to do that. That becomes, a positive way to leverage relationship. And I am always hesitant to say, like, I leverage this relationship or whatever, but it's a really positive thing to be able to leverage relationships in ways that are beneficial to everybody.
Yeah.
And like I said, I always want to give out of a relationship more than I get. Whether that's, in our business friendship, our partnership here, I try to give to you as much as I'm getting, which I feel like I'm failing in that aspect.
I thought,
but I try. Like, I'm constantly trying to give, because I just think that the world is a better place when we're giving.
I want to do a little shout out for a moment, and maybe you're gonna hate this, but I don't care.
I would appreciate it if you didn't.
I don't care.
Okay.
So actually, it's probably not even what you're thinking about. So a year ago,
Okay, I have no idea where you're going with this.
yeah, a year ago, I was a couple months into running my business. Money was tight, very tight, and I was feeling. There were certain things that I wanted to do or kind of needed to do to make some progress, but I just couldn't swing it. One of which was have a subscription to a music platform, like an art list.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. Okay, we're good. I'm like, what is he talking about?
And you and I got lunch just to catch up and talk about life, because we live like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. Like, we're not from each other, so we don't see each other often, except for this.
Yeah.
But so we were just catching up, talking about life, and I was just talking about how, like, I haven't been able to do, get like an art list or some sort of subscription, and so a lot of these client projects that we need music for, I'm really just like struggling. And Joe bought me a year's subscription to Artlist on the spot in that moment. And he said there were people that believed in me when I started and supported to make me make it happen. And when I can, I want to be able to do the same for other people.
Yeah.
And you have done that, that sort of generosity for me on more than one occasion. And so I think, first of all, I just want to like shout that out.
Yeah.
And say that I'm really grateful for it. I mean, I've already told you that, but
Yeah, you have.
I also think that it's a really good example of what you're talking about. It's not bullshit.
Fair.
It's you mean it.
I
You do it. I've experienced it.
Yeah. And I try to do that, as much as I possibly can. And not just like in the situation you're talking about, I've literally had, people who obviously weren't like video people who've just given me money, like because they felt led to.
Yeah.
I mean, sincerely, like, and that money that they gave helped cover a gap while I was figuring stuff out. And so I just appreciated that. And I've always felt like I'm going to pay that forward, that generosity. So like part of that comes just from like this internal obligation that I feel really to the Lord to be as generous as people have been generous with me. But also just out of friendship, like, and I wouldn't have done that if I didn't believe that you were going to do some amazing things too. Like, so there is that, you could call that even a selfish motivation. Like I get to be a part of a story that's going to be epic. Like, so there's that, but I try to carry that in to my client relationships.
Yeah.
I said that I wanted to ask you some questions.
Yeah.
One of the things that I want to ask you is, in this idea of building relationships, what has been kind of the starter for you, like the igniter for you to build relationships with people who you've never previously known?
Are we looking for deeply practical things?
Yeah, I think we always try to have some practicality in our episodes.
Because I'm just a huge extrovert. Like, so.
Can you make friends with the tree?
I could.
Dope.
I'd talk enough for both of us anyway. But also, like, I don't want this to sound cocky, but I just have come to know about myself. Like, I know how to make people laugh. That's not one of the things that I struggle with. There are things I struggle with, but like being a warm, inviting, relational person, not hard for me.
Right.
In fact, I learned that like that's going to be one of the strongest selling points for my business.
Yeah.
Is people will meet 6 different video people or marketers, and I stand out. Why? Because I was confident and fun and didn't feel like I needed their business, and I gave them some really good ideas. And I don't know, he just didn't make sense in the room full of suits and ties in a way that I won't forget. Like that's something that's been really easy for me.
Yeah.
And I've learned that that's a superpower I have, and I should own it and lean into it. But on a more practical side, ironically, this is going to sound like it completely contradicts what I just said. Early on when I started my business, a couple months in, I realized I'm sitting alone at home all the time. No one knows what I'm doing, and I get depressed when the same 5 people like my social media post, and they're old friends. They don't need what I'm doing. No one knows what I'm doing. I should go to networking events.
Yeah.
And that idea was terrifying. I don't know why. I mean, it makes sense to a lot of people, but given everything I just told you about who I am, you would think it'd be like piece of cake,
right?
And I was like, this is such a terrifying idea that I'm going to look up something online, and I'm going to drive to a place I've never been and walk into a room full of people that I don't know and act like I belong there when I've only been doing this as a business for a couple months. But I was like, you know what? It's It's this or die.
Yeah, and this is where I was hoping you'd go with this, because this is
Yeah, I was like, I left my job a couple months before because I had to make money, and so this is the real stuff. So it is what it is. This is
Yep.
what I asked for. This is where
Yeah.
we're at. And so I went online, looked up some networking events. It's really funny. I'll try to make the story quick, but the first networking event I went to, it was like a lunch thing in McHenry down the road. It was maybe 20 minutes away, and it was like business networking lunch. I was like, all right, sure. And so I went into the restaurant and I was like, hey, I think I'm here for like a networking event. And they're like, oh yeah, they're over there. Brought me to this table. It was me and two kind of clunky older guys. Like I say older, like probably 70s, maybe late 60s, that both worked for the same company, which the more they talked about it, it sounded suspiciously like an MLM. And
and it was.
and it was. And it was just the three of us for lunch. They lived together. They were roommates. And so it was very much like them and me. And in the moment, it was pretty easy for me to want to judge the situation. But I was like, you know what? I have the rest of my life to look back and decide if this is stupid right now. I roll with it. And so I was there for like an hour, made some conversations, learned about their business. It was interesting. Talked about my business. I was like, this probably ain't going to be anything, but it was good first experience. Left the thing, and I was like, you know what? Probably can't get worse than that. So
That's valid.
it's only up from here. And then the next networking event I went to was like there were like 60 people there, which was a different kind of terrifying. But I peeled the Band-Aid off, pushed myself in there,
Heck yeah.
and made a lot of connections. Yeah. I will say, like looking back, I've really tried to go to networking events consistently since then. And if I put it on paper, like I went to this many events, I spent this much time, this much money on tickets or whatever, and I made this much money from it, cost benefit wouldn't be there. It wouldn't. But
It wouldn't.
it would not. I'm confident I did not land enough money, like income jobs from those networking events to justify all the time spent. But what I will say is it forced me to get out and talk to strangers, which has definitely helped me. It drastically increased the number of people that know I exist, which either helped me in some small ways back then or will continue to help
Right,
me.
for sure.
It
Did it
has-
help you with rejection?
It helped me with rejection for
Yeah.
sure. Helped me with my sales pitch.
Yep.
It also helped me meet other peers. I'm now working with a financial advisor that I met at a networking event.
Sure.
He paid me $3,000 for a video before I ever talked to him about business. And so but at this point, I got to know him over the course of a year, and I was like, I like you, I trust you, you seem to know what you're talking about, and I actually think I could use you. And so for all of those reasons, I think it's been deeply valuable.
Sure.
So yeah,
And that's my experience in those. Like, I tend to lean towards networking events that are referral based,
yeah, like referral groups and stuff.
referral groups. But we had the conversation of six figures.
Yep.
I was making money, good money.
Yeah.
Probably averaging $5,000-6,000 a month.
Yeah.
Sometimes more.
Yeah.
Right. And then I really hit that 6-figure mark in the first year because I specifically went to a referral based networking group where I was able to show my value to a lot of business owners and then create strong relationships with them.
Yeah.
Over a very short amount of time, because that was the purpose of the group, was build relationships. Like, if I'm going to refer this person, I should trust them. And so everything was built around trust and relationship building. And like the group that I go to, not everybody's a fan of. That's totally fine. But it's like BNI, Business Networking International.
Yep.
Went to that group, and my company blew up.
Yeah. At the center of that it's a lot of structure, but it's a lot of structure built around the idea of relationships,
Yeah.
doing businesses together.
And code of ethics and all of those things. And so that became what it did beyond just having a handful of businesses that I built connections with that wanted to hire me and utilize what I had to offer and build partnerships and relationships, is it refined my pitch. It helped me let go of things that I was doing that weren't beneficial to me. Like all of those things were also true.
Yeah.
I had a group of there are people who I refer out from that group all over the state because I'm like, oh, you need to go with this person because I trust them. And that became like having trusted business associates and business partners is invaluable in this world of entrepreneurship, because there are people like you with the financial advisor, like there are people who you need to leverage.
Yeah.
And that's a positive thing. I know I'm running out of time on filming because I have to go pick up my children. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode than normal. I do want to pick up on these concepts and ideas in the future more. I think it's an important discussion that we're having, that we're going to continue to have in some capacity. But I think the ultimate takeaway that I want you guys to hear is, if you view people as, partners in building relationships, and building relationships with those partners, it's going to lead to a lot of long-term success in more than just monetary, and more than just I'm getting hired by them. And you know what I mean? Like the end of that story, I didn't gatekeep information with the one guy. There was frustration. I showed him what he was really after and how to do what he was after. Yeah. And then he ended up hiring me for a pretty large project after that. This doesn't always happen, but the relationship, was continuing to build. He invites me to a Tuesday night card game. He's starting to become a buddy of mine. Yeah. And that was where he wasn't relational in the beginning. It was transactional. Yeah. I approached it differently, and then he got different results. I got different results. Yeah. And it became more mutually I can't talk. It became more mutually beneficial for both of us. And that's what this is about, is if you're solely focused on yourself, that's a very narrow perspective. Yeah. And you're only going to go so far with that narrow perspective. And so my philosophy on that has been to give more than I get, to add value. And in return, I feel like, whether God's blessed that perspective and attitude, or that's just when you do good things come back. I don't know how to fully quantify that from that standpoint, but that has been true in my experience. So,
yeah. And I think it'd be cool to do either a segment or another episode all about practical customer service tips, like what you and I have done as businesses to maintain relationships, but just some practices that have helped. I've got some that have been really helpful. But to sum up all of this, I feel like it's prioritizing relationships in your business is a better business move, because it could lead to business later. It's more ethical, it's more honest, and you just feel better about your life.
And I will admit that it can feel counterproductive, but I don't believe that it is
in the long run.
Or even sometimes even in the short run.
Yeah,
but because it feels counterproductive to not gatekeep information. It feels counterproductive to teach a prospective client how to not hire you. Yeah. It feels that way.
That's true. That's true.
I've showed friends of mine who own businesses, okay, you don't have the budget for this. You don't want to, here's how you do it on your own. The client that texted me earlier when we were recording, I was like, oh, he reached out. Yeah. That's one of those examples. Yeah. And so it feels counterintuitive, but it is not. Yeah. It is actually in your best interest to be generous and giving and put others above yourself.
I love that. If you guys have any thoughts, comments, things you want to add to the conversation, we've been saying this over and over, but we really, really want this to be a community. whether it's interacting with comments on social media posts or on the full episodes, or if you guys send us stories or thoughts or pushback at our email address, can you change the music at gmail.com, or crazy horror stories or anything. Like, we want to interact with our audience to the best of our ability, because I don't think about us as you guys as just an audience. I think about this as a community.
I want to encourage pushback, actually.
Encourage pushback. Do it.
Yeah. So tell me something.
Push us.
Let's go. Push back.
Push us back, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Push us. Yeah.
I want to encourage it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Here for it. That's how we get better.
For sure.
And that's what happens in good relationships.
Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. I don't know why I did that at all.
All right. We'll see you guys later.